Guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the brand new CIGA Design Blue Planet Gilding version, a watch based on the 2021 GPHP award-winning watch, the normal Blue Planet. And I'm going to be doing things just a little bit differently here. I'm going to start to overlay some B-roll of the unboxing experience because it is something that you should see. The unboxing is part of the experience of this watch. It's a really cool packaging, and yeah, I think you're really going to like this watch. So I received this watch for free from the CIGA Design official website. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or the other. And as always, if by the end of this review you find yourself wanting to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving a link down to the official CIGA Design website, and you can pick one of these up for yourself. The current retail price for this watch is $1,899 US, and that's before any taxes, sales, or coupons. They're currently running a 2-day special of $100 off, which ends on the 14th of March 2023. So the watch case and included bracelet are made of high temperature ceramic. It has a sapphire crystal, a push-pull crown, 30 meters of water resistance. It also comes with a nice rubber strap, and it's powered by a very unique automatic movement, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So I really don't think I can properly review this watch, not how I normally review a watch at least. Given its design, it's more of a piece of art for the wrist than it is a watch. And the price tag, this is the most expensive watch I reviewed on this channel. I can't spend that much money on a watch. I just don't have the disposable income to do that. But I think this watch is fantastic. You know, it is an award-winning watch. So this is the GPHP award-winning watch from 2021. And if you don't know what the GPHG is, it is the Grand Prix of Horology at Geneva. So basically they give a bunch of awards to watches. Some of the winners are like the MB&F. And just for reference, the 2023 winner of the same award was given to the Red One, which I'm not really too familiar with, but it's a pretty crazy looking watch. And yeah, it's a very innovative category, very unique designs. This one you can get for under $2,000. I think that's pretty cool that you can have an award-winning watch for under $2,000. And I mean, this thing is a eye catcher. I wore it out one night with my wife to dinner, and I got asked 3 times about this watch. So it was a pretty cool experience to kind of explain to these people what the watch was, how it worked, and all that stuff. I don't think my wife liked it very much, but I did, and I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience. It's a really interesting watch. I say we get right into this full review. Yeah, so let's get to the dimensions. The watch case is 45.9 millimeters in diameter, 15.6 millimeters thick, and that's to the crystal, 22 millimeter lug width. And because it's circular, I mean, it has no lugs, so the total length of it is the same as the diameter, and sized up for my 7.5-inch wrist with 3 links removed. It weighs 147 grams. So I think the size of this thing is really interesting. You know, 46 millimeters in diameter, 15.6 thick. That sounds like a big watch. It definitely doesn't wear that big. It has no lugs. So it just kind of sits like a little circle on your wrist. The dome kind of just plays into the design, and I think it looks really good. I think the case itself is probably like 12 millimeters. So it really doesn't wear that thick on wrist, and it doesn't wear that big on wrist either. I think it wears fine. I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5-inch wrist. So, I mean, it still wears pretty good. There's no lugs, so it kind of keeps the size in check. And I think it just looks it looks incredible. Really, really unique. You can see the bracelet shines nice. I mean, it just looks very shiny. It's a very shiny watch. It's definitely going to get noticed. Definitely a conversation piece for sure. But yeah, I think it looks really good. And here we are in some direct sunlight, and as you can see, I mean, it's perfectly legible. No issues with that. I mean, it's difficult to read just because of the unique time keeping of it, but the glass doesn't get in the way. It just kind of disappears, and it's really, I mean, it's just a cool effect. I'm really hoping it comes across on camera, but yeah, I think it looks really cool on wrist. It's super comfortable as well. Everything is rounded off nicely, and I've got no issues with the comfort of this thing. I'm going to go throw this on the rubber strap that it came with, and then we will get right back to this review. I'm not going to do any other straps with it because I just don't have anything that'll look good with this thing. So, yeah. But that's it. I mean, I think it looks really, really cool. And here we are on the included rubber strap, and I think it looks really good. Yeah, I mean, I've got no real complaints about this thing. Just the way that it plays with the light, it's very cool. And I mean, the strap is super comfortable. The watch is super comfortable. I love it. It just wears really good. Overall, very pleased with the way this thing looks. I'm not going to worry about any other straps on this thing. It's not going to look good on anything that I have. So let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case on this thing. And the case is super interesting. It is high temperature ceramic. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. You can see it is fully rounded there. This has got to be the most comfortable watch I've ever worn. I mean, it's very, very comfortable. It sits nicely on the wrist. I mean, just the bottom edge of this thing being rounded like that, it just kind of melts to your wrist. It feels great on wrist. I love it. The polished ceramic looks fantastic. Really dark black. Just inky black. It looks fantastic. Being ceramic, it is extremely prone to fingerprints. I will say that. But it's also really a hard material. So it's not going to scratch up that easy, which is nice to see. If you did a PVD black, it's going to scratch up. So the fact that they chose ceramic for this, it's really interesting. It has an interesting, really just a smooth and soft feel to it. I think it looks really, really cool, and everything on this is fully polished. So very interesting. Coming around to the crown here, it's an unsigned crown, but it's a pretty interesting crown. I don't think it needs to be signed at all. I think it's a pretty cool looking crown. Plenty of grip here. This first position here, hand winds, and yeah, I think it's a fine crown. I got no problems with it. Flipping it over to the case back here, so you can see. So it is water resistant to 3 atmospheres or 30 meters. Ceramic case, sapphire crystal, designed by CIGA Design. And then you've got a pretty nice case back here. The case back is interesting. I can't really tell if it's a screw down case back or a snap-on case back. I'm not really sure. I don't see any place to, get a tool in there to pop it off. So it might just be kind of like a sticky ball situation where you gotta stick it to it and spin it off. I'm not really sure. There's no grooves or anything like that to get your typical case back removal tool in. So yeah, pretty interesting, but again, super smooth. You got a nice display case back there showing off the movement. The movement is really nice looking. I've got no problems with it. It's got some nice striping on it and some nice perlage. It looks good. Golden gilded gears. Yeah, pretty cool looking, very happy with it. And yeah, I think it looks nice. It's got the GPHG text on it there, kind of obscuring the movement a little bit. I wish they wouldn't have done that, but I understand why they did it. They're pretty proud of that, and they should be. So yeah, but overall, the case on this thing, very comfortable. That's the one thing I can say. It's just very comfortable. And it also has like a cool feeling to it, which is kind of unusual for a watch. Usually, the steel heats up pretty good. This one always kind of feels a little cool to the touch. So, yeah, it's very nice. Very happy with it. I think it looks excellent. All right, so let's test this thing for sapphire. +4 sapphire. The case back is not sapphire. So the crystal on this thing, it's pretty interesting. I'm a little disappointed that the back crystal is not sapphire. At this price point, they could have put in a little sapphire crystal. It wouldn't have increased the price at all. But the main crystal itself, really nice, big, tall dome, blue anti-reflective coating. It's not an annoying blue. I think it kind of adds to it a little bit. And I think it looks really good. You can see here, it keeps the dial nice and clean. I mean, very happy with the crystal on this thing. I mean, it's just a crazy dome, and it kind of plays with you as far as the dial itself. It all just kind of adds to that 3D effect of the dial. I think it's really cool, and yeah, I think you're gonna like it. It's an interesting aspect of the watch for sure. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing, and that's kind of the star of the show on this thing. It is extremely unique, and I'm going to tell you how to tell the time here in just a second, and then we'll get to the movement. But so the dial is yeah, very interesting. So you have these outer rings here. So you have a stationary outer ring, a rotating inner ring, and then a rotating globe here. And it all is, I mean, it's done pretty nicely. So you can see the outer rings here. They do have really nice raised numerals. Those are a Gilding gold, so they do kind of shine and pick up light at certain angles. So yeah, it's not just a printed yellow or anything like that. It's just it's a metallic-y gold paint on it. And then the globe itself is a 24 karat gold gilding dial. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm assuming it's just like a plated or maybe painted with actual gold. I don't really know. They made a point to say that it is 24 karat gold. Obviously it's not solid gold, but you know, at least painted or plated in some way. I'm not really sure what or how, but yeah, it's really interesting. And they say that it takes about 68 hours to create each dial. So a time consuming process. I think the end result is very unique and very cool. You can see here, I'm giving you a nice view of the texture and kind of the depth of the planet there. Really very cool. It's super unique, and I think it's executed pretty well. Yeah, it does look really nice. So the way to tell the time on this thing is actually pretty simple once you get used to it. So you have your compass here pointing, so wherever that is pointing, that tells you the time. So you can see here, so it is in between 10 and 11 o'clock. So it is 10:39. So that's one thing I had to get used to is reading this inner ring backwards. So I immediately want to see that and see it as, you know, 10:41, but it's not. It's 10:39. So this actually rotates the opposite way you would think it would rotate. So I'm just going to show you that real quick. So here's how it looks when it's rotating. This is the time going forward. So yeah, it's a very unique. So if you spin it around, you can see the outer ring stays stationary. That's always stationary. The inner ring rotates and then the dial rotates. So wherever it's at. So if I stop right here, you can see it is about 3:44. So it's a really unique time telling way. Once you get used to it, it's pretty simple to figure it out. But yeah, this thing is not really about telling the time, right? This is about having basically a piece of artwork on your wrist. It's super unique, very, very unique. I kind of like it. Again, this is one of those watches where I wore out one time in public, and I got 3 compliments on it, or 3 questions about it. My parents saw it and they were interested in it. They don't really care about watches and they thought it was really cool. So it's definitely a conversation piece. If you want something to wear on your wrist that's going to get some attention, this is going to be it. And I think the dial is the main star of the show on this thing. It's really cool. The only thing I really have to complain about, I don't know if you guys can even see it or you saw it earlier, but the dial does kind of shift around ever so slightly. Now that I'm trying to show it to you, I can't get it to do it. But yeah, it does shift around ever so slightly. It might make a difference of 30 seconds for time telling. So not a big deal. Just thought I'd mention it. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. And the movement is pretty impressive. Not only is it unique and innovative, it's running absolutely fantastic. As you can see here, I mean, just spot on, very minimal beat error. I mean, this thing is a very healthy movement, 28,800 beats per hour. So it's a high beat movement. Not that you can enjoy that from the dial side, but still nice to see. And I mean, it's a great movement. I've got no problems with it. Flipping it over, you can see it here. Really nicely designed. I mean, it's got some good perlage on there. It's got some gilded gears and whatnot. Got your GPHP award stuff there from 2021. It's a pretty cool rotor as well. It says CIGA design customized movement. If somebody knows what this movement actually started out as, you know, I heard Miyota. I kind of assumed it was the Miyota 8315, but being high beat and with this decoration, maybe it's the Miyota 9000. I'm just not too familiar with that. But it's a nice movement. We got no problems with it. It hacks, it hand winds. It's a little heavy on the hand winding. So yeah, it doesn't kind of feel like the Miyota 9000s like I've had in the past, but yeah, I've got no real problems with it. And you know, pulling out to the third position to set the time, there you can see the movement has stopped. So it is a hacking movement there. And overall, I've got zero complaints with this movement. It's unique. It looks nice from the backside, and it's running just bang on. So yeah, no real problems with that at all. Let's talk about the straps. So first off, I'm going to talk about the rubber strap that comes in the box. Nice that they give you 2 strap options. Quick release on both of them, which is nice. CIGA design branding. This is a nice flexible rubber strap. I've got zero problems with it. It doesn't really collect dust or anything like that. It's a nice strap. Very happy with it. CIGA design branded buckle here. I kind of wish they would at least do a polished buckle. I know it's just PVD steel, but a ceramic buckle would be pretty cool. But it's a fine buckle. I've got no problems with it. 1 floating keeper, 1 stationary-ish keeper. You can move this one around if you really want to, but yeah, it's a nice rubber strap, and I've got no complaints with it. And the bracelet that is included, really nice, shiny, glossy black ceramic again. This thing is just super smooth, very comfortable on wrist, no sharp edges or anything like that. You can see, the polishing is just ultra smooth on this thing. And, a polished bracelet, when I wear it, it gets scratched up pretty much instantly. I'm not seeing any scratches on this. Ceramic is a very hard material, right up there with sapphire. So I think this thing should be, should look good for a very long time. So I'm very happy with it. It is 22 millimeters. It tapers down to 20 millimeters at the clasp. Flipping it over here, you can see the slot for the spring bar. So this does include quick release spring bars in the box. So you just kind of slide it in like that. The spring bar will come out on you, so just keep that in mind. But it's easy to use. I've got no problems with it. Again, a fingerprint magnet on the bottom side here. So super easy to use. Looking at the bottom of the bracelet here, really nicely done. I've got no complaints with this. Again, look at, just the way that it articulates. It's very comfortable on wrist. I've got 0 complaints with it. The sizing method on this is pin and collar, so yeah, it's pretty easy to use. I've got no real problems with it. Butterfly clasp here. There's no half links. There's no micro adjust, so the fitment could be hit or miss, but these links are pretty short, so you should be able to get a pretty good fitment on it. You've got a gold butterfly clasp here. Everything works just fine. It's nothing special, but it's not offensive in any way. All these bottom edges that are in contact with your wrist, they're nicely rounded. I've got no problems with it. I'm not a huge fan of butterfly clasps, but in this case, it gets a pass just because it looks so nice and so seamless. And again, sorry for the fingerprints. This thing is just impossible to keep clean when you're trying to show it off on video. But yeah, very happy with the way this thing looks. It's just really sleek black. The polishing is just done excellent. I've got no problems with it. I think the bracelet is a big selling point of it. And the fact that it comes with a bracelet and a rubber strap, it's pretty nice. So yeah, really happy with the options there. Both quick release, both nicely done. I've got 0 complaints. So there you go, guys. That is the CIGA Design Blue Planet Gilding Edition. It's a very cool looking watch. Very cool looking watch. Almost $2,000. They do have it slightly discounted. So if you're going to pick one of these up, now is a good time to do it. You're going to save $100. But yeah, it's a piece of art for the wrist. It's definitely not a time-telling piece, although you can tell the time on it. But it's just very innovative, very unique. It's a conversation piece for sure. You get really cool packaging. I think the watch itself is executed really nicely. My only issue that I've actually seen with the watch is the dial, where it sometimes moves around on its own. About right there, you can see it right there, just barely. About 30 seconds maybe. That's really the only build quality issue that I saw. Everything else is super smooth. Yeah, one of the most comfortable watches I've ever worn. And I'm very happy with it. I think you guys will be too. I think that's about it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.